Welcome, welcome, welcome. So meet Lindsey. Now, this is someone I know. She went from being pronounced brain dead after a car wreck to best selling author and leadership coach. Welcome to Unbreakable. Good morning, and welcome to Unbreakable. Hey, look, y'all got a very
Hello.
special guest here. Miss Lindsey is in the house. Look, y'all, let me share something. This is a true icon of what it's like to be broken and come back and just shine like a shining star. I heard her story on a stage and I've never forgotten this person because a lot of times we think we go through trials. Well, not do we think we do. We actually go through trials and tribulations. And sometimes it knocks us down and we don't know how to get back up. And so Lindsey, thank you for coming on Unbreakable, and I want you to share a little bit about that story of the car wreck. Where were you coming from?
I was
Then
coming.
where did you wake up at?
hmm
Yeah, what happened?
Yes. So I was coming from my mother's house. I actually surprised her. So we don't live in the same place. I drove home to my original hometown and I surprised her for Mother's Day weekend. And I had a whole events planned that Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday after church. Said our goodbyes, got me some food, and I hit the highway to head back home. That was my last memory before I woke up in complete darkness. And I had
Oh,
no clue where I was.
mm.
hmm
So when did you see light?
It was the next day. So if it's okay, I'm gonna just tell the whole
Yeah.
story. Is that all
Tell the
right?
whole story. Go ahead, tell the whole story
Because it
because people
leads
need to
me
know. Yeah, go
right
ahead.
into what I do today as a coach and speaker. So in May 2007, I literally was minding my business, as I said, just driving home, listening to music, had already ate my lunch and all of the things. But I found myself doing that. And then the next moment, waking up in complete darkness. I had no clue where I was. I couldn't see. I couldn't speak. The only thing that I noticed was the moonlight that was shining through a window that I knew wasn't mine. And I don't know about y'all, but I like to watch a lot of movies. And so in my head, the only logical explanation that I could come up with is obviously somebody kidnapped me because what's happening? Can't move, can't see. It's completely dark. And so I start panicking. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do? Thinking somebody's about to just come in and do things to me. And eventually, I exhausted myself out to the point where I just passed out. And then the next time I woke up, it was daytime. And so I thought to myself, well, that had to have been a dream. It felt so real, and I hope I never experience that type of dream again, only to slowly realize I still didn't know where I was. I still couldn't see. I still couldn't speak. I still couldn't hear. The only thing
Mm.
that changed was now the sun was shining. But before I could panic again, I heard voices, and a lady walks up to me and she starts asking me questions. And I'm looking at this lady like she's crazy, and I'm thinking I'm answering her, but in reality, the only noises coming out of my mouth were because
Mm.
there was a tube going down my throat, keeping me alive.
Wow.
Turns out this lady is my nurse, and she proceeds to tell me that an entire week earlier, on May 13th, 2007, the car I was driving went off the opposite side of the highway, flipped multiple times before landing upside down. My head was pinned between the ground and the entire weight of the car on top of me. I was cut from the car and immediately pronounced brain dead on the scene.
Mm.
But God. because despite that,
That part for real, for real.
yes, there's so many but God moments in this whole story. Because despite that, because normally they would just put you in a plastic bag and call time of death, but instead they put me on a helicopter and life flight me to a trauma hospital, where again a new set of medical professionals pronounced me brain dead upon arrival, but God, because
Ooh,
they proceeded with the emergency surgeries anyway and only placed my body on life support until my family could be contacted, but they didn't even expect me to make it through that. And so it's like, wait, 1 minute I'm minding my business, and the next I'm being told that not only had I been brain dead for the past week, but I was also paralyzed.
mm,
Talk about a complete flip on my life amongst all the other injuries that I sustained. And all I could think was, thank God I'm alive in that very moment. And thank God I wasn't kidnapped by some psycho. I still didn't know where I was, but at least I was safe.
right. Wow, wow. So what was your recovery like?
It was grueling. So the physical recovery actually was a lot faster, hence why a lot of people were calling me Miracle and Miracle Woman and Walking Miracle and Miracle on the Highway. Literally, there were three newspaper articles, and the very first one was front page news, and the title, Miracle on the Highway. Woman believed dead is now alive in Indianapolis hospital. So that part was actually, I wouldn't say it was easy because it was far from easy, but I recovered a lot faster than everybody expected me to.
Wow.
And I can attest that to my mindset and the things that I was thinking and what I was going through during that time. But it's the emotional recovery that they don't warn you about. That took a lot longer than
Wow.
my physical recovery.
So when you talk about your mindset, what type of mindset did you have? What sort of things did you focus on? What was your self-talk like going through that physical recovery phase?
So it's what I like to call a first class life, which is about creating a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. And every letter in first class life stands for a different characteristic or skill that you want to embody into your lifestyle to be able to create a first class life. And it started with F, being faithful. Whether you're a spiritual person or not, I personally, I believe in the good Lord Jesus Christ.
Right, right.
And so when I was laying in that bed and I'm trying to comprehend everything that had happened, like I said, the first thing I thought was, thank God I'm alive. And then I can't change the past, is what I kept thinking. Like, I cannot change what has already occurred. So, how do I
That's
move
good.
forward with the life that I want? Because I know what I don't want. I don't want to be laying here. I don't want to be paralyzed. I don't want to be all the things. And I clearly heard that I was to make a full recovery. Not from the doctors, for the record, not from my family and friends and the experts and the medical team and all of that, but from the Lord, that I was to make a full recovery that didn't include a wheelchair or a walker or anything like that.
Wow.
And I held on to that piece of faith. So that
And
F
that's
is for faithful.
and that's so important. So just if I was to talk about a coaching point, that's a part of the self-discipline
Mhm,
bridge. Sometimes people will try to subscribe to a lot of different things.
mhm,
And I'm not here to judge people on what you subscribe to,
right.
but what I am here to do is talk about the power of faith in God.
Mhm,
And when you in a dark place like that, it is the voice of God who brought you through and told you to hold on, that you was going to make a full recovery.
yes.
Now I can't talk about other voices because I don't know nothing about all of that. I do know the voice of the Lord. and
Yes.
and so that's and so that was so F was for faith. Okay, and then what's your next one?
And to carry that on just a little bit further, because that was so important for me, because that was the step number one. I held on to that because here's the thing. no matter what you believe in, we have to believe in something bigger than ourselves.
That's right.
And there's been studies done at Johns Hopkins University about what that means, believing in something outside of ourselves, spiritual or not. So whether you're spiritual or whether you're not spiritual, you still have to have faith in something bigger than yourself.
That's
Like I
right.
said, for me personally, it was my faith in God and hearing that I would make a full recovery. And the reason this is important is because the doctors weren't saying that. And so sometimes we fall in the trap of listening to other people, other voices, whether they're yours or someone else's or
That's right.
societies, that we forget what God told us.
That's right. That's good. That's real good because
Mhm.
a lot of times when storms come, we have the negative voices from the storm, from the eviction notice, from the bills, from your letter of termination from a job, from court papers being served in a divorce, from finding out bad news, and you really only have two sets of voices that come into you. It's the voices that are negative, and
Mhm.
that can come through friends, family, media, songs, television shows, and then you have those people that I'm aware of that are positive, that knows the power of God. I don't know. I can't speak to any other powers. I can only
Right.
speak to the power of God.
Right.
That's coming through. Again, because I don't want to. I'm not here to judge what people do. I'm only here to talk about how you become unbreakable.
Mhm.
And the key point that you talked about was you have to have something that's bigger than you, because there are things you just cannot get yourself out of. So it has to be bigger than you because you can't do it yourself.
Exactly.
That's powerful. That's good. That's good. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So you have that faith. So I held on to that. I didn't care what anything else was going on around me. That's what I held on to. And from that, I set my intentions. The I is for intentional. And I
Okay.
set my intentions very clearly. I wanted to walk, period, point blank. I didn't want to walk with assistance, with braces, with the cane, with a wheelchair, or anything. Like I wanted to be able to independently walk. I was already an independent person, and I like to do things on my own and be able to go where I wanted to go when I wanted to go there. So the
Wow.
idea of having to wait on other people to do what I wanted to do did not sound pleasing to me by any means. So I set my intentions on walking. I didn't know how, I didn't know when, I didn't know why all of this was happening to me, but that's what I was focused on. And I always say, where your focus goes, your energy flows.
That's right.
And the thing that you focus on, you attract more of into your life. And so we have to have a laser focus on the things that we're trying to achieve, especially whenever it's in alignment with God.
That's good. That's real good. You said what was yours? Wherever your intention goes,
Where your focus goes,
goes
your energy
and
flows.
flows. And I always say whatever you focus on the longest becomes the strongest.
Yes.
And so you can meditate on a bunch of negative mess. You can, have it be reinforced by music. You can have it be reinforced by stuff that's on television, and it just reinforces a negative type of message, and then that's what actually ends up happening.
Yep.
That's what you actually end up attracting, and people don't understand the law of attraction and how it really truly works. And so,
Hmm.
this is just a little sidebar. If you want a good positive relationship, you have to put good positive relationship things inside you, because when you put negative stuff inside you, that's what you'll end up attracting. That was
Exactly.
just a sidebar. I had to say it, but go ahead. Look,
Listen,
there
give
you
all
go.
the steps because it's true. They say that the life that you're living right now, and by they, I mean research, the life that you're living right now is a result of the thoughts you had 5 to 7 years ago. So, what are the things that you're thinking about, and how do you want it to shape your future? And here's a quick demonstration. If we take our left hand, we got to stay in camera frame right here,
Okay, all
and
right.
we put it directly to the side of our face.
Yes.
Okay. And then take your right hand and put it
Okay.
on the other side. And then turn your head and look at your left hand.
Okay.
Can you see your right hand behind you?
No.
Because we can only focus on one thing at a time. That's how our brains work. If I say, think about a pink elephant and a yellow school bus, like you're going to think of one and then the other. That's how they work. Like if I say, think about a pink elephant on a yellow school bus, that's different. But we can only focus on the left or the right, the up or the down, the solution or the problem, the poverty or the wealth. Like we can't do both at the same time. So if we're constantly thinking about the negative and everything that's wrong in our
That's
lives, and that's
good.
what we're attracting and that's what we're self-fulfilling, because that's how our brains are wired to work. The things that we think about, we attract more of, and we reinforce that even stronger. And it can
Ooh.
one or the other. And so we have to choose a side, get off the fence, we need the wood,
That's
and
right.
commit to it. Like we can't hop back and forth. We have to be committed to the decision because your life is being created whether you want it to or not. So you should be in control. You should be in the driver's seat of creating the life that you desire. That doesn't mean there won't be struggles because we're all going to
Yes.
have struggles and
That's
obstacles
right.
at some point, but it's going to make the difference between how long you're struggling and how long you're suffering, and what you need to get to the next level is going to be that mentality and that ability to focus.
Wow. And probably that focus is really what happens to a person's worth.
Mm-hmm.
If you focus on the things that create positive momentum, the things that create healing, the things that create harmony, the things that create wealth, that's what you'll begin to attract, and you feel better about yourself. And you don't have to worry about, if you worried about somebody cheating on you, if you worried about if you don't have any finances, then that's what you tend to start attracting,
Yep.
and anchoring yourself in that type of worth, that type of self positive talk can really is what makes you, and it can break you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to change your circumstances, start changing what you let go into your mind and what come out your mouth.
Yep. Because
Ooh.
our brain is constantly recording everything. It's recording our conscious thoughts and our conscious actions, but it's also recording subconsciously. It's recording the quiet things that we don't say out loud. It's recording how we interact in our spaces with other people, in our environments, with the world in general. It is subconsciously recording millions times more than we're consciously aware of, and what you're feeding it most of the time is going to be what it spits back out to you.
Right, right. And you know what's really really interesting is because when I heard your story and I was in the audience and I listened to you speak, y- and I saw you standing at the table. And I don't know if you remember this. I came over there and said, "You got a light shining on you." I don't know if you remember that, but that was one of the things that stuck out after I heard your story. I'm like, she got like this glow over her that made me say, "Oh my goodness, this right here, this is God's work. This is the angels. This is the Holy Spirit. You know, this has God written all over you because you just spoke, you laughed, you talked, you don't have no limp, you know, you look good." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, this." And I see, and little did I know, 3 years later we would be talking again in this platform. So, again, thank you for for being here. We really appreciate it. I want to be a part of the team, positive, of equipped in the world and people all over the world with positive tools so that they can know how to overcome,
Mm-hmm.
and not stay broken but become unbreakable. And so you probably have your platform right now. I read in your bio that you had a program that kind of focuses on three pillars. Can you, take a minute and tell us about your programs and what you're doing currently doing right now?
Yes. So those three pillars you're talking about, it is part of the overall first class life. Remember, I said first class life is an acronym, and within that, there's three S's. And those three S's stand for the three pillars: self care, self worth, and self discipline. And those are their own foundational system all by themselves because they subconsciously impact everything we do in life, both personally and professionally. So once you figure out how you are impacted by your self care, your self worth, and self discipline, then you can start to course correct whenever those challenges comes up because our brain naturally defaults to fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of success, even
Yep.
fear of not being good enough. That's my main one. We all have some system that we subscribe to
Yep.
subconsciously,
Yep.
and so your brain naturally wants to protect you. Its only goal is to keep you alive. Unfortunately, it
Right.
does that with our limiting beliefs, that fear of failure, that fear of the unknown, and it drives our behavior. So when you realize and understand how it is impacting your self care, self worth, and self discipline, then you can start to take control over your life. And like I said, course correct a lot faster. So with those three pillars, I do coaching, I do speaking, like keynotes and conferences and things like that. And then I host self care retreats that are really about prioritizing yourself and understanding that you can experience success without sacrifice, learning from my mistakes.
Right. Right. For real. That part
That
is
you can truly show up and make the impact that you were destined and purposed to make because every single one of us is a leader in our own right. You might not have a specific title, but we all have our leadership areas that we're meant to thrive and strive in. And part of creating your first class life is being able to just accept that God given identity and that legacy that He wants and desires for us. Like, because we don't really want to be in poverty, right? Whether
no.
that's mentally, emotionally, financially, spiritually, any type of poverty. But really walking in our truest purpose because not only is it fulfilling for us and helping us to live a happy and joyful life, it impacts every single person that we're connected to and it has a ripple effect.
That's right. That's right. And so look, I have time for one more question, and then I want you to tell how people can get in touch with you. I'm also going to take your information and put it on your face card and get that to you so that anybody that's reading, listening, watching the podcast, it'll that information will be there and how they'll be able to get in touch with you. But this last question I have for you, you know, when it comes down to self-care, I think a lot of people think, eh, and it's because I used to think that.
Mm-hmm.
But so I just want to ask a different opinion from a coach of your stature and all of the things that you've been through. Is a part of self-care other than, eating well, getting the proper rest, drinking water, getting massage, doing yoga or meditation or bubble baths or candles or whatever, it is reading a part of self-care. What's your thought on that?
So, before I answer that specific question, I want to circle back and say you mentioned like the bath and the massages and things like that, and being able to take care of ourselves. I want to reframe that because, yes, that can be self care because technically self care is anything that brings you joy and happiness and really resets your spirit, your soul, your mind, your body. However, I want us to reframe and think about those things as daily necessities. Like we need to take care of ourselves. We need to nourish our bodies with healthy foods and proper rest and being able to take a shower without disturbance and things like that. Think of those as your daily necessities, okay? So
That's
you
good.
need those things. Let's take our self-care to another level. Now, reading, yes, absolutely. It can be a form of self-care.
Okay.
However, what are you doing with the words that you're reading? So that's one point specifically if you're reading personal development things. If you're reading fiction, then that's different.
Right, right. That's another story. That's another story.
Yes.
Sometimes you escape reality by getting in somebody else's reality. I get
Yes,
it. I get
and
it.
that can be a form of self-care, and oftentimes we think of those surface level things, getting our nails done, going shopping, watching a movie, and reading. Yes, they are self-care, but we have to take self-care even further, even deeper. So saying no is a form of self-care. You don't got to say yes to everybody, and you don't have to explain why you're saying no. No is a complete sentence. No, period. You don't have to
Right,
add an explanation to the end. That's part of that people pleasing. Oh, I need to explain why I'm saying no so that they don't get mad at me. Subconscious people pleasing, right?
right.
Setting boundaries is a form of self-care. Every single person in your life, whether it's your mama, your daddy, your pet dog Bobo, your chiropractor, your spouse, your kid, everybody needs some level of boundaries in your life. You don't have to do all the things for all the people all the time, because there are definitely people that are going to take advantage of that. And then healing our past traumas or negative experiences are forms of self care. And those are things that go deeper and really have that long lasting impact, so that you can show up brighter, so that you can show up and have maximum impact in the people that you're meant to serve.
That's good. That's so good. And it's so important to get that out there repeatedly, um uh, the, out in the world. And it's important to growth. It's important to mental health. To
Mm-hmm.
me, that's what mental health and wellness is. Now we know there's another level of that, but if you're not in that special case, then a lot of times mental health and mental wellness really is about taking is about self-care. And you get into a mental state when you don't take care of yourself. You erode, you become rough, your heart becomes hardened, your decisions become hardcore, and you just become mean. And mean is a form of poison. And so yeah, so how can people get in touch with you?
Connectwithlindsey.com.
Okay.
ConnectWithLindsey. Connectwithlindsey.com. And when you go there, you'll literally find any links. There's a free gift you can click on if you like. If you want to follow me on whatever is your preference of social media, there's direct links. If you want to shoot me an email, then everything is literally right there on that page, connectwithlindsey.com. You can see what I'm up to, or you can, dabble in whatever is of interest to you.
Good, good. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm gonna make sure that I put that on your card as well, and get you the information so that you can send it out also. And as I wrap this up, part of becoming unbreakable is a discipline to success. It's not a this big path. Success has a very narrow path. Now there are some things you can do on a wider path to make you feel good. It's only usually going to be temporary before you look for your next dopamine hit in your brain. And then you'll look for the next one, and then you'll look for the next one, and you'll look for the next one, because you searching in a very wide category. But when you talk about being disciplined, and just so that I'm really clear, discipline really means to follow the teachings of. And so if there's a success principle, you don't amend those instructions. You actually follow those instructions. You do the self care every day. That's a necessity to be successful. You do read either to escape reality for a minute if it's fun and clean, or you do things on a personal development front so that you can become better. You focus on things that move you forward, not focus on things that move you backwards. And you surround yourself by healthy people who can speak life into your situation, and not those that speak negative things into your situation. And then just remember that discipline is actually the bridge between who you are and who you're becoming.
Mhm.
And it's what you do before and after the storm. That's what will decide whether you stay broken or you become unbreakable. Hey, y'all, I'm Coach Bowles here. My special guest, Lindsey, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And we will see you next time.